Kitten Features, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in his student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wade in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and by everybody, I mean Hando. How are you doing today, sir? I'm welcoming you guys all today at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT on the 6th of August, 2017. Today is our first episode on the month of August, and the year is just really smacking through as we look at things. Apologize. I have just got in, as I've been running around, been busy all week and all weekend, and in doing so as well, and actually double checking, have to make sure I have all my devices on me so I can communicate as needed. But with that, let's see. Oh gosh, I hope this isn't for today. People are talking about D&D, and I don't believe we figured out when we're playing again. And if they're saying now, then I am screwed, because I have other things happening. Anyhow, as go forward, Ken, unfortunately, is not with us today. He let me know that he's busy. We talked about it before that he might be, and it turns out that he is. And so it's just me today, guys. I'm sorry, but solo Wayne. But it also means that you feel free to email in the show at showx@vtwproductions.com, so I have more to talk about as I get the rest of the way logged into everything. I honestly got home in time to start working on this about 5 minutes before showtime. So I apologize for that, folks. But I have progress to show for it, or at least talk about for it, so there's that. Alrighty. So, start things off. Like I said, Ken's not here, and I don't have the drop-ins working yet. You know, I bet I can change that real quick, because all I have to do is go into the sound effects and make sure that where I'm pointing to actually points to somewhere where there's data. And so, I think I have it set up now. And I think I can just click it right in, and I should be able to update each one of the drop-ins right now, real time, so that I can do this as we go forward. Awesome! So, look at this. I should be able to do drop-ins. Let's see if this works. I may have to refresh this one, and then as I get ready to talk about
functional deviations.
Success! Awesome. And as soon as I get in there and talk to Hando, who was in the IRC, it says he timed out. And so now it's just me, all by myself. All by myself. And because I can't see the stats on Sam, I think I'm all by myself still. Anyhow, I will continue. So, let's see what has been going on this week in Dysfunctional Deviations. I also should probably get... Oh, wait, look. I have show notes up all the way from last week. Like, I should probably do something with those. And I thought I had a show name that came out of last week's show. I'll have to double check that. When lightning strikes. There's something about lightning. Darn it. I'll have to look at where else I typed that to capture what this was called. Because, yes, I am still, unfortunately, recovering from the lightning that hit last week, which sucks, really sucks, because I don't have a good means as to where our 24/7 server is still off air, which really sucks. I have pulled the computer from the rack, and actually that's what I guess I'll talk about first, just lightning in general, what I've done to recover, what I've learned so far. So, last week I mentioned that lightning hit the house earlier in the week. Took out my network, various other things. Definitely took out the server. I did a check, and it seems like the power supply on the 24/7 server is working. Which, good, bad, and ugly of that is that it means it's more likely my motherboard or processor or combination of two, which has fried itself. And I'm thinking motherboard because I also checked, and where my cousin's computer upstairs was not getting online, I was able to get into it, and basically what I did is his motherboard's pretty cool in that gaming motherboard had two network connections on it, two actual network ports, and so I was able to just connect to the other one, and it seemed to work just fine. And so I'm assuming that, again, that most of the hit came through the network, and in doing so, took his out as well. And so I'm thinking that I should be, his is online. I've done, some looking around my network as a whole or everything else I've got going. And again, my receiver's gone upstairs, which sucks. But at least with that, I have an idea of what all I need to fix or get replaced. I started my insurance claim, but I have to give them details and kind of figure out more with that. So we will figure out how much I still have to do. And it sucks because the threshold for how much it's going to cost me to use the insurance versus how much I need to claim and get back is enough that I should use my insurance, but at the same time, it's not enough to be awesome. And so I still, we'll see what I do. But let's see. So beyond that, I had a good week with, so I'm trying to think. Rest of network stuff, that's fine. I think I got everything up and running because I got my old router together, so I was able to do show last week. I've just switched to using the television as a hub upstairs as well as for just all my devices connected, so not using the receiver. And so I'm limping along. I checked most of the network ports, I think, on the ground here to ensure that I can host Game Fest in 2 weeks. That's coming quick. And beyond that, I was able to get all up and running for my family who all came to town. My brother's family left a little earlier, and then my sister's family stuck around until yesterday? Yeah, they left yesterday morning. And so I had some really good time, extra time, getting to hang out with my nieces, which was really cool. Let's see. As I finish up about the server stuff, I don't know if I'll get it back running this week. So archives, check out the YouTube channel for our stuff, as well as you can get online on the, not the RSS feed, but you can check out all the old podcasts. And so if you just go to vtwproductions.com, you can download any of them, or if you've got us on any of your various RSS feeders, you should be able to go through any of the old episodes. You just can't go to our website and just hit play since the server is down. Okay, but what else did I do with family? My nieces, who are awesome, as well as my nephews, but as they lingered longer, I finally got some time to spend with them because I was jumping in and out and doing other things. And one of the things that they were really keen to check out was both my VR. My eldest niece is actually quite good at gaming. It's funny, I've talked about their family for the longest time, where back in the day I talked about my brother-in-law was a huge WoW player. Come to find out, he actually killed his account for the first time in however many years since it started. But he has also worked to bring up my nieces as gamers, and so I remember him talking about him having them farming for him and doing some of the menial tasks in WoW way back when. So they've gamed most of their lives. With that, he he's continued to allow them to play PC mostly, but other things like that. And he, whoops, I need to not repeat myself. He, as he's getting them going, they've gamed forever, and they're young. They go all the way from, I think the youngest is 3-ish years old, or just under, and the oldest is 11 now, of the nieces. And when I was going through, one of the things I got them each to try was my Oculus. And with that, I tried to find the right kind of experiences that was going on. And so I put them all into, let's see, what did I start with? Because there's a range of ages, again, from about 3 years old up. Did not put the youngest in VR. Thought that might be too much. I'd done that once before with one of my friend's children. And he got a little weirded out, even when all I gave him was Henry, which is a little 3D movie experience. But so I instead put my second youngest niece on that one. She enjoyed it. There's a challenge where, and I don't know if I have to figure out a way to add some Velcro to the straps or something on the Oculus, but getting it sized to tiny, tiny heads, bit of an issue. I got it to work, and everybody fit, but it was definitely a challenge. It was not easy. But did get them all at least on it, which was great. And then, oh gosh. That's so yeah, I should talk about that stuff too. I may have come up with a cosplay name, just saying. In fact, I need to look it up right now. to see if it exists, and I don't see one. So I need to like start a new page on social media right now, and I don't know how to do that at all. Create page. There we go. And how do you do it when you're trying to do one for yourself as a thing? Gee whiz, why everybody's contacting me? Entertainment, artist, band, public figure. Public figure? Is that me? I will do a public figure. As a actor? What do you do for a cosplay group? How do I do cosplay? I need to do this now, actually. I'm going to do this live, real time, that you guys are going to find out my cosplay name. That may be a thing. So this will probably be, I guess artist is officially, artist or actor. That may be the appropriate thing. Comedian? No, definitely not. Dancer? I wish. And entrepreneur? Yes, but not here. Fashion model? Oh. So yeah, I am going to sneak towards... Oh, there was a photographer page thing. I did do that, right? Death's House, maybe? I gotta double check. All right, so go with artist. And let's see if that is a real thing. Nope, nothing. Wow, this could happen. This could happen right now. I don't see anybody with this name. All right, I need to do this before people steal it, because my friend who, as we started coming up with it, just put it out there as a potential thing. And so I have to have it now. Do I want it as 2 words or 1? It should be 1, but... okay. Okay, got the username. Yes? Yes! Got the username. Sweet. Okay, so that's set. All right. Now I got to figure it out, but... the nice thing is the people who will know it, and so this will work. I guess I just need to put up a picture for myself initially, and that should be good. And then I'll figure this out as I go forward from there. But I guess I see photos. Yeah, I gotta at least get a photo on there, so it's me. Oh, I can't! No, my server's down, and so I have nothing I can actually tie it into. Oh, this is gonna be fail. So much fail. Do I have any of my cosplay on my local computer? I may. Oh, I got to get my other computer up and running. So this is another challenge. I've had people ask me about my last photo shoots, saying, hey, where's your photos from this? I'm like, on a computer that will not boot right now. And so, golly gee, that is going to be painful. Hey, excuse me. Okay, I do have a couple that I can throw on there right away. So this will help, I think. At least get started. And that way I can put a overall picture on there for me. No, that's kind of fun. Okay. That way I at least have initial pictures. I will move them to the albums as I go. And then I will use this to set... make album cover, maybe? Yes, why not? And then I need to... yeah, anyhow, that'll be my first thing, and I will figure that out. But at least it's on. And so, hopefully that'll work. Alright, so I have now made a page, and so my cosplay name, for anyone who wants to play along in real time, is Predictably Ham. As in, all the predictability of a pig. Now, it is based on conversations and stuff that I have, but yes, that is going to be my cosplay name as I go forward. For now, it may change. We'll see. And I guess, let's see. Yeah, this is going to be my cosplay page. And we'll see as people start looking and say, what the hell is that? All right, so continuing on, because there we go. Things that I've done and things that I have going on. All right, back to show stuff. Why? Why, Hy, did you have to post that so quick so that I was not aware and was not ready to steal things. I have a show to do, darn it. Live. All right, let me put that in there real quick. Predictably Ham cosplay. And it mostly comes from, I always talk about when I'm doing things to finish up my costumes, it's going ham. And I do it every cosplay. I started doing it for what I was doing this weekend, give me stages before, because I realized I'm going to run out of time quick. And so I have to go ham since now versus day before. All right, so I will continue. Real time, single or solo host, Ken not here, backup. This is professional. Okay, I was talking about family in town, I was talking about VR. And in that, let's see. In that, as I was messing around with the nieces, I showed the youngest Henry, which, like I said, is a lightweight VR experience where you just sit on the floor and experience, look around. Tells a story of a little porcupine named Henry, that's very cute, who is trying to celebrate his birthday but has no friends. Goes for that. It's a little sad, a little unfortunate, but the end is very cute. And so that worked out well. It was interesting to see her kind of look around in the space, trying to figure out, took to it right away. It wasn't, weirded out by it. It was just looking around, kind of like, oh, look, I see this. Oh, look, I see that. And it was more of, I think, an interest for her sisters who were watching her because you could see what she was seeing on our screen, is that they kept wanting her to look other directions. Like, no, look over there, look over there. And she was just doing her own thing. And so that was kind of the thing where they were just, with that, they, afterwards, what did I show? The older two, next eldest, I think I put on Lucky's Tale, which is, the platformer, where you kind of run around as a floating camera, almost like a balloon chasing after Lucky. I think is one of the more marvelous just platformers out there. It seems very simple when you first get into it, but the more you play, the more they start using VR to an effect. I'm sad because through the upgrades that the Oculus Store had and various things I had to do when I rebuilt my computer, I lost all my save game stuff on it because I'd put some decent amount of time in Lucky's Tale. I need to go back through it because I was getting to some levels that really require you to look around and time jumps and do things in all directions in VR, not just kind of side to side or a little bit into the screen or back. Having to look down as to where you're going, look up at a platform that you're going to have to jump up to so that you get a heads up before Lucky has to jump. Really made for some interesting gameplay and big fan of it. What else? So got her to play that one. It was interesting to see because they are all pretty good gamers, so they picked up to him pretty well. But then for the eldest, and I would say, the eldest was probably the one I did the most thing. When my nephews were still here, there was a little bit of competition going between my eldest niece and my younger nephew, are almost the same age, in Space Pirate Trainer, which is the basic stand there and shoot and dodge game that's kind of out there for anyone to get into. Gorgeous experience, very straightforward gameplay, very arcade-ish. And it was fun because my younger nephew got into it and was having a ball, loving the VR aspect, but he gets very excited and likes to show off or kind of make more of a scene about it when he's doing something. And so he spent a lot of the time kind of jumping around and, ooh, look what I'm doing, and da-da-da, and stuff like that, versus just playing the game. However, when my eldest niece got into it, she's been playing games enough and she has a certain seriousness about it that when she started playing, it was like, ooh, how does this game work? I see. And suddenly started playing the game. I think I think my nephew had gotten through probably playing 4 or 5 restarts in it, dying each time because you get 3 hits before you end or get the game over. And then starting the next one, or when my niece started in, she was able to, I think after 2 attempts, really on her third one was doing well. Had got up to stage 9 or something like that going up, and was paying attention to how to play the game and doing various things, dodging, not just standing there and trying to use a shield, but doing various things where it was fun because, again, nephew was trying to give input and say, oh, you got to do it this, got to do it like this. And she was just like, no, I got this. I know what I'm doing. And it really showed. It went really well. She did great. After that, though, the other one that we got her on, as well as a couple of the others to try, was the game The Climb, which is the rock climbing virtual game. And I want to give my eldest niece a ton of props and credibility for this because she jumped into this thing, and I take for granted a little bit, or I had initially, that it is sized in such a way that I think The Climb was designed to be played by adults exclusively. Now, granted, you can play, at least when you play it with the VR hand controls. When you play it with just a controller, it doesn't matter what age, you just look at a thing and use triggers to move your hands. When you're playing it with the touch controllers, you now have to reach across to meet your different handholds. And it's hard for a lot of people to understand, and I think my nephew had a challenge with his younger nephew, was realizing that you could grab with hands onto a hold virtually, and then to reach further along, you could let go with one hand and move the other one to give you a semblance of really reaching out a distance before grabbing the next handhold, and then kind of doing a shuffle back and forth like that to really extend your reach. Because he couldn't figure that out. He'd keep them very together and just reach one hand out and leave the other one there, which meant he couldn't reach a lot of the handholds and was suffering for it. My niece did figure that out and started getting pretty good at that, and she's small enough, she's not tiny, but she's still young, 11 years old type thing, that she was able to, she had to kind of reach when her next eldest sister tried. She was just at that point where she was too small, where even in the basic levels, her hands couldn't reach across. I had to end up putting her instead on the training levels, the gym or whatever, where you just do a practice wall. But then my eldest niece, she started playing it. And after she got up one mountain, essentially, the easy one on her own, and was pretty comfortable with the environment, I said, all right, you play. She quickly chose after that the next harder mountain, like the Alps or such, as well as a medium level climb, so nothing easy, and started going. And this girl, without almost any instruction, figured out. The only thing I had to teach her a little bit was how to jump, because there are points where you can't reach and you have to kind of leap across, and the way it's set up, you just kind of reach out, look the direction you want to jump, and then hit the A button on the controller to cause the jump. She was doing a much more dynamic jump, and I don't know if she was having to use the A or somehow the game has a momentum. I haven't tried this yet. Pretty sure she was hitting the jump. But she would actually, because there were a few that we called monkey bars, where you had to go over your head to climb underneath the surface, because if you pulled up, your head in the virtual space would connect with an environment piece, and the screen goes blank. It says you're inside the terrain. So to actually see what you're doing or do anything, you have to pull your head out. And so you had a monkey bar under, but at the end there was a jump. And so what she would do is actually like virtually kind of like swing herself and then release and then jump and grab. I haven't tried that, so I don't know if it's a mechanism the game actually has, and she just did it or figured it out. But for me, she got to a point where there was a bunch of little monkey bar type blocks she had to go, and then she just could not hit the jump. At the end, she would try and just kept coming up short. So what I showed her to do instead is I grabbed back, leaned one arm all the way behind me so that I would reach as close to the next thing as I could before looking and hitting the jump button. Jump, let go with both hands, reach, and then grab for the next hold. And that actually worked really well. Once I showed her that, she was everywhere and went on some levels that I have not even tried and have difficulty that I was even stopping for a second like, oh, I don't know how I would have done that quite yet. She figured out very quickly when ledges have rocks on them and you have to reach over and actually close like you're trying to grab the ledge and then shake it until it cleans the rocks and then grab it. And which is all easy enough, except that the longer you hold any handhold without both hands being on, your hand fatigues. And if it fatigues too far, you start sweating and then you will just lose your grip and fall. And so some of these reaches, you have to let it go out, grab it, and if you have to reach out and brush something off, you have to do it kind of quick. Brush it off, grab, hold for a moment, let yourself rest your other hand. You can look at the wrist to see how much energy you have, and then continue on and go at that. And she just picked it up so well. I think she was playing Climb for easily an hour at a time in VR and really had a ball. Her advantage was I think the headset I could just get size to her, and she had to wear it with her glasses, which in a way helped because I had to put the front piece out a little further, and thus it held onto her head better. So I think she probably had the best experience in VR of all the kids, and she just constantly wanted to go down and play it. The others were pretty content watching as well, but they also wanted to take turns in and out. So did a lot of that through those last couple days with them. The other thing I did, because I love my family and my nieces are amazing, is that as I showed them the tech and they had fun, had played some Rock Band with them. My family went around and visited most of Colorado on their own. Maybe I can convince them finally to move out here so we can all be closer. Rock Band. I also did some 3D printing for them because they've known I have one. And so they were just very interested. I don't think I was able to get anything printed in time for my nephews because we had talked about but didn't really come up with anything. My older nephew did sit me down and was jealous that I had a whole stack in my office of Loot Crate boxes that were unopened. I would look in them briefly, say, oh, that's cool, close them up, put them on my shelf, because I just didn't have time to find a space for them in my life. So he had eyeballed them for some time that he was kind of like, oh, hey, so what are you going to do with those Loot Crates? And I was just like, oh, those? I don't know, stuff. And I must have mentioned it He was like, wait, so we should go through those, and we should like see if there's anything you don't want that maybe I could have. And I was just like, really, nephew, is that what you're doing? And he just kind of had this look like, what? But he did. Come morning of him leaving, he convinced me to sit down and actually go through them, and we did. Now I feel bad in a way because we went through probably a good 20 plus loot crates, and I let him take like 4 things. Now I did offer probably a good dozen things for him, but several things he wanted, I was like, no, I actually want this one and would do something with this, or have someone else in mind that needs this because it's perfect for them. You know, one of the things was like a Zelda bracelet. Not bracelet, armband. So like one of the things you'd work out with armband with the Zelda symbol on it. And I was kind of like, yeah, I know you want this because you know Zelda, but I'm actually been playing some Zelda recently, so I kind of want this right now. So I did not give up. Did give him, though, because he also loves anime, and if I had anime crates, I probably could have gone nuts with him. But he got some of these things I'd actually seen in my buddy Hydroxycut's office because he had loot crates, and I was wondering where they all come from. Not realizing I had all the same loot crates, I just hadn't opened them. But I gave him a plush Dragon Ball that has Shinra, wrapped around it, the dragon from it. A little plush one that he took for that. I gave him some air fresheners, I think they were of different little silly designs, and I forget what else he took, some little things. I kept all my shirts because I love t-shirts, in fact. Oh no, I'm wearing my Kakashi right now. I was going to say I have a bunch sitting on my bed now to go through. And I think that was the main things I did for him when it came to loot crates and such. But other than that, I think I mentioned last week that I was able to sit down and have moments with him where we watched a bunch of Initial D, which was very like touching my soul kind of thing, because not Baby's First, but man, if that wasn't one of my favorite anime, and still is, I was watching it with him again, and I had to sit there and be like, wow, it has been a while, and yes, I still love this. Even with the slightly dated animation style and things like that, I'm still like, this is so good. But he got into it. Maybe it was watching it with me, because I think my older brother had mentioned he tried to get my nephew to try it a few times, but he just never picked it up. With me, he sat down and enjoyed it to the point where almost each morning he was getting up early saying like, hey, you want to watch some more? And I was kind of like, yes, but I also have to work today. Yes, but I have to do these things. And so there was kind of this back and forth where he was like, oh, but I want more of this. I was like, oh, no, sir, just, yeah. So, but that was a lot of fun. So anyhow, long story continuing, I've had a wonderful time with my nephews and nieces, seeing family. Very thankful that they all came to town to visit me after going out to a family reunion thing, since I didn't make it out for that, since I had other things I was responsible with. So just in general, it was an awesome time. Also with that, what was it? My mother had come to town. Great to see my brother and sister and their spouses. So all in general fun times. Also was able to actually introduce several of my local friends, the ones I've been cosplaying all the time with lately, to all my family, and that went so well. It was great. It was kind of like just, so here's the people I've been spending the last month and a half almost solid with, and here's my family, and everyone got along famously. So that was a good time. I've been having a lot of fun, gotta say, and doing things that, go figure, haven't been gaming. I talked about last week having experienced some Switch. Have not done much more with that. We'll talk in the Geek about a little other, and so that's kind of what I have there. What else have I been doing that was geeky? Oh, I was going to finish up the 3D printing that nieces, they each asked for an item, essentially. Youngest did not get one. I didn't think something appropriate. Next oldest got... Which one? One of them... Oh, next oldest got a golden dragon. I have some goldish filament that I've used for random things, and wanted a little dragon that we went through Thingiverse and Yagi to find some free models. Found one she liked and printed that. Really enjoyed it. That was cool. Also went back, and then for my next older niece, got her a creeper from Minecraft. Was able to go through and find out I still had some green filament, some PETG, and was able to set that up for her. And I was going to do it in blue or something first. I found that, was like, aha! And so printed her up a little creeper that we assembled, and has a head turn and stuff that she really liked. And then my eldest niece went a step further and wanted to see, they and my family had gone out to Dinosaur Ridge here in Colorado, so my sister took her family out there, where they have like fossilized tracks and some other fossils to display, and some, I don't know if they have animatronic dinosaurs in there or not, but they have a lot of kind of display type ones that the kids can sit next to and get some sizing on. They really enjoyed it. They all came back with little either shells and stuff like that, or just little rocks that had tiny fossils in them. That they had, as well as some stuffed animals. I think the youngest came out with a stuffed Triceratops that my brother-in-law was significantly trying to get her to name Bob, and she was not having it. So that was entertaining. But so my eldest asked for a dinosaur to be what she got, and so I went through a same situation, went through Yegi and had her peruse a bunch of different models, found one that looked printable, got it all together and printed one for her. So it worked out really well. That was nice. It also allowed me to test the printer a little bit where now that, so one of the things, if you remember last week, his printer was not printing because the Pogo board failed me. It's a great feature that they wanted to do to try to make it easy for users to get in there and change things out. So they have a little spring-loaded board that is the control board that connects to the hotbed that both sends signal to and receives temperature readings from the hotbed so that it can keep it at the right temperature. Challenge is they made it so the hotbed is removable, so it's easier to get prints off. But in doing so, to make it all work and try to be consistent, they put those connections as having those spring-loaded tops. So whenever you set it down, it would touch it with a little bit of force in the spring, thus keeping a solid connection. Challenge is those springs in a lot of cases, and especially if people move the bed when it's hot, either put it on or off, weaken the springs, and sometimes they fail, and so then the connections don't spring up, they start to sag. You lose connection, and therefore you can't print. So the nice thing is the company Robo's been super responsive. As soon as I called them up and got an appointment, they come talk to me. Yep, that's the issue, and they sent me one in the mail and got it the couple days before my nieces were going to leave. So it got me printing again. That's actually why I didn't get any for my nephews, because I just got it back working. But now I am printing again and trying to go back through the list of all the things that I want to keep going as I constantly try to push this printer. Now I'm trying to do what is theoretically going to be like a 2-day print. That is another Zelda-themed thing that I'm excited for. It's a scene from part of the game that I think should come out pretty cool. We'll see. This is my third attempt starting it because, unfortunately, as I've also learned with using the 3D printer a little more, this somewhat ties over to Geek, my Geek cred for the week, is that that's not all filaments are created equal. Now, the funny part is when I say that, it's not that I have run into a filament that prints poorly. I don't think I have. I think as soon as I found the right settings for heat, all of the various brands of filament I've used have worked well. In this case specifically, it was an online sale from Amazon for essentially $15 for a spool for a kilogram, which is a really good price around 3D printing for FDA printing. What got me was that not only, I got it for the $15 and it was like, oh, this seems fine. It's when I started printing with it that I realized the challenge of this wasn't the filament itself. It seems to be printing just fine. It's the quality of how it was put together. In this case, it's how it was wound. And so they're all on big spools, but the spool for this less expensive filament was loose throughout. And so while the weight's there, I think, just fine, as I started printing with it, I've gone through many yards of this so far to finally get to a state where I think it's mostly good. It was loose enough that it kept catching itself under the next next loop of the spool, and it would get hung up like tying itself in a knot. And when doing that, the printer doesn't know, and it doesn't. I've yet to see the printer that has a good tension meter that says I can't pull this filament. So it just grinds and keeps trying. And in doing so, usually the gear that pulls the filament just goes until it eats through it, and it's sitting there with just dead filament that you can't use. Well, it's done that multiple times with this spool to the point where I got somewhat better in that I pulled out probably 4 yards of it and then spooled it back in myself when it felt like it was starting to get better. And it was working for a bit, and now I'm at a point again where it's tight, but I think it'll work. I don't know. It broke again on this last print, which sucks because it was basically stopped. It stopped, I think, only 2 hours into the print, but I had left the house saying, okay, be free, go print. And now I come back, and it looks like I wasted about 8 or 10 hours or more of print time. In fact, I'm looking at it right now, and I want to double check that it's loose or moving. I can't see it move. So I'm going to do that as I keep talking just real quick here, because unfortunately this isn't big enough. I just got to make sure that it's still printing. All right, still feels loose, still feels good. I think I'm okay. Let it keep printing. Whew! All right. So we'll see how that goes, but I keep wanting to print this massive thing that's supposed to take 2 days, and it fails after just enough hours for me to be really annoyed and waste print time. All right, so printing, that is all those big things. I need to get back. I need to actually make a list of all my print tasks, because I always want to be queued up that as soon as one finishes, I can start another one. And I know I have a slew of things I want to print, but I keep squirreling. I'll either look at what color filament I have that I kind of want to try, or just I'll look through my list of things I've downloaded over months and months and months of time and say, ooh, let me try this one. And I'm kind of not in any predictable fashion when it comes to my printing. It's just kind of like, yep, I'll try this now. So I need to get on that and kind of schedule it out. And I cannot wait for Robo 3D to come out with their second extruder for it. I so want to try to do some really complex ones with water-soluble supports in a second extrusion. Because then I could do it where I set the supports right up against the main thing and actually give you a clean print. Oh, that'd be so good. So eventually, I will figure this out. All right. What other things I've been doing? Other things I did in the last week is I had family in town, and I also have to give a big shout out to my family, say thank you for putting up with my continuing to try to do all things while you guys were in town and thus not necessarily hosting as well as I could have. Because I got lots of random opportunities as things were going. Last Wednesday night, and last Wednesday I had some work things I was doing where it stuck me at work, so I couldn't get out to go play with family. And I still need to hear back from them how fun some of their explorations of Colorado were. I didn't get a good readout from their trip up Pikes Peak on the Cog train, which is a classic kind of train that goes up the mountain, beautiful views, things like that. I still haven't done that. Still haven't even been to the top of Pikes Peak, and I've lived here for almost 20 years. Have been up the mountain about 3 times for races, but only part way. Anyhow, they did a bunch of stuff, so thanks for them to be self-entertained. One of the other things I ran into is on Wednesday night last week, while out entertaining folks from work that was kind of doing some work things, I got a message from a friend, and this was the same day that the family was down checking out Pikes Peak, so I knew there was going to be some freedom for me to do some stuff that night. However, I knew they would be back before it was too late. I took up an opportunity where friends of mine said, hey, what are you up to tonight? And not just tonight, but very, very soon. And I was kind of like, okay, what? I don't know. What are you talking about? And what they then called to offer me, essentially, was that they had tickets to that night's Guns N' Roses concert out at Sports Authority Stadium, the big football stadium that is here in Denver. And I was very much conflicted because Guns N' Roses, guys, Guns N' Roses, like one of the premier rock bands from the 80s and 90s of all time. And I had heard and seen some things back in the day. I think it was early 2000s, late 2000s when Axl had tried to come back on his own, I think, one time, or just part of the band. And MTV did a quick spot and did not sound well. Did not realize that they have been touring for the past year and a half now on this current tour they have, which I need to look up the name of. It was like the Neither Here Nor There tour. Something about the time frame right now. Guns N' Roses tour, which is currently called the... Where are you? Yeah, events, Guns N' Roses, yes. This is called the Not in This Lifetime tour. That's the one. And it has things all throughout because they have tour dates throughout August, September, October. I think this goes to the next year, right? Yep, October, November. Oh, these are all this year still. All the way through November 29th, all over the darn country. I will tell you right off the bat, if you at all like rock and roll music, if you have ever liked a single song from Guns N' Roses, you need to go to their concert. If you can, go to their concert. Holy cow. So I have been to various rock and metal concerts over the years, some better than others by all means. And so there's a variety, right? And different groups do on different shows. I was a little concerned because this was a stadium show, and the only other one I'd been to at Sports Authority that was massive was a Summer Sanitarium tour, which from back in the day, which was headlined by Metallica, no slouch group, but also had multiple titles, and it was an all-day thing. So our bands that included the ones I remember, like Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, and there are a couple other big ones leading into Metallica as a headliner. And that thing was packed, right? They packed the stadium for that one. Tons of people. I think the stadium can hold 75,000, but because of the arrangement for a concert, it drops it a little bit, maybe 60, 65,000. You have people on the field, but you don't have people in the stands behind the stage. So it kind of balances out somewhat there. At this one, Guns N' Roses, I was concerned because it's like I hadn't heard much about them. I was like, how are they going to do? Well, I was able to show up there. I jumped on a train, got home in time, and got out there just before it was starting. Got in, and I will say we had some brilliant seats just up the side of the stadium. Great view. There were easily 40,000 people in the stadium. It wasn't packed to the brim on the sides, but there was a beautiful flow from the lower levels up to the nosebleeds, but the nosebleeds were kind of straight back from the stage. And I had heard some stories about Axl and Guns N' Roses that sometimes he was notorious for not coming out on time, maybe sitting around for a couple hours and making people wait. As well as I'd heard some things about whoever was coming in before show, this and that. This one they had, I think, listed some country band or something. All I know is when I got there, it was supposed to start at 7:30. At 7:30, or almost right on the dot, someone came out and said, and here you go, Guns N' Roses. And they came out on stage and started playing. So there was no wait. There was no lollygagging. There was no actually, as far as I could tell now, granted I was wandering around the stadium just before, I don't think there was any band ahead of them. And they came out and started playing basically right at 7:30. From there, they did a huge show. This show had everything I could want for a rock and roll show. The stage was massive with jumbo screens on the sides and middle that were, I don't know how many stories tall, but enough that anyone in the stadium could easily have seen the members on stage with the cameras on them. Just really projected well and looked amazing. The screens went through the whole backdrop of the stage, went through the stairs, everything. So just anywhere you looked on stage had something being shown. Stage was big enough that it, width-wise, GNR originally, I forget how many members, but on tour they've got like 7 of them on tour. Of that, I don't know who all's original. I know that, of course, Axl's there, as well as Slash. There's a gal that's running on keyboards, very cute gal, and then who's a little bit younger, and then older gentlemen's on backup lead and bass guitars, and then a brother on the drums who was just killing it. And the stage is big enough that they could just run all over with, including steps up to a backstage kind of thing up higher than the drum set, all over. And they made such good use of the entire setup. They were all over the place. Things started out a little slow, not with the way they played. I mean, they played their songs and hit and went all over their albums, everything they've ever done. But more so just the energy. Like, Axl came out, had the glasses on, he had various coats, hats, the ripped rocker jeans, and a plaid shirt tied around the waist, like straight out of the old days. I say that minus the fact that, of course, he's in his, late 50s now or something like that. And it definitely shows some age. You can't hide certain things, and I always say next, give it away. But he was looking a little older. The other guys, and in a weird way, it almost looked like Axl was trying to fight the age a little bit, maybe some Botox, something like that, I don't know, but it didn't look bad, you just saw something. I don't think he's had plastic surgery, but something. The rest of the band, they looked their age, but they looked and were showing it really well. Best probably being Slash. That man is a beast. He's 52 years old, we looked up, and his arms are these cannons there for, I guess, just lifting and playing guitar his entire life for the past 35, 40 years. But he just could shred. And I have a new respect for that man's ability as a guitarist. Watching him live and how he just multiple guitar solos and beating on parts of the guitar that I didn't think were possible to the level of I thought strings would break and such. He was shredding so hard. That guy has skills up and down the wazoo. Arguably, to me, one of the best guitarists I've ever even known existed after watching him. But multiple guitar solos for 10 minutes at a time, stuff like this, and that kind of plays into because they played basically one continuous set until they actually did a couple encore songs. When they were playing, instead of just stopping things for a length of time, they'd always lead at least one person out there to do a solo of some sort. One of the guitarists out there, at one point drums for a bit. and which allowed the other band to either do a costume change or kind of relax and change a bit. I think the only one that really did costume change throughout was Axel. He went through probably 5 or 6 different shirts, 3 or 4 different leather jackets, and like 3 different hats. Jeans were the same, but beyond that, which were interesting because his shirts were great. The one that I recall specifically was one that was like little kittens on his shirt. Silly enough. But anyhow. But they played continuous music from 7:30 to I think they played their last song just after 11 o'clock. And so they played for a solid 3.5, almost 4 hours, just under like 4 hours of solid concert. And some people got hold of the set list, and I was told that, and Dan, who I was with, who loves GNR, has been to their concerts before, knows all their music. He commented that they played essentially 30 songs out of their set list. It was ridiculous. It was so impressive. So I'm gushing over them. The show the music sounded amazing. The singing was good. Axel's a little older and can't hit quite, like the notes don't hit as hard, but he can still get the high notes. Certain songs he sounds spot on, and it's great. All of it was fun. All of it sounded amazing. They did some fun things with various songs. I mean, they kind of played what you'd expect, and it sounded right, but just how they tied things together and little pieces to it. By the end of the concert, Axel was running around on stage, amped up, eyes open, just loving it. Obviously having a good time. The rest of the band was just killing it. Towards the very end, Slash, after they'd done all of... Well, so I'll finish that one. As they finished the show after the encores, and they did several, and just every song you could hope to hear. The only one they didn't play for me was off Use Your Illusion 2, I think it was, which is Garden of Eden, which is a silly song. It's the only one I know because it's super fast-paced. I just would have thought it would have been amazing to hear, especially at his age. But every blockbuster, top chart songs they have done over the years, they played. Amazing. At the end, Axel, when he was done, he took his mic, and he had the nice wireless mic running around stage. He took the microphone and just flung it into the crowd. And I am sure the wireless, stage-ready microphone that Axl Rose uses on the Guns N' Roses tour is not inexpensive. As he just whipped that thing into the audience, I was like, wow, he must be feeling good. As well as, of course, drumsticks, picks, all those things just flying out into the audience. What else was thrown out? I want to say someone's hat, not Slash's, of course. But something else got thrown out that was significant, or just gee whiz, these guys had a great time and they're not even through the tour. So yeah, it was a phenomenal show. They had fireworks, they had all the kind of light show you'd want in it. The audience was pumped. It's different because older audiences, so pumped, not in the sense that there were any mosh pits or craziness, but just everyone was happy to be there and singing along, and they'd raise their arms and pump it when needed, but it wasn't like a constant flow of it because everyone's like, and I'm old and it's past my bedtime, so I'm just enjoying the music. But as a whole, it was just great. Oh my God, had so much fun. So anyhow, that was the concert. That was Guns N' Roses. Totally worth it. Totally worth being up to far too late trying to get home afterwards and having to work the next day. Thankfully, made it through work solid, so I didn't have to feel bad about that. But still, with all of it, oh man, was I pushing hard. And so what am I up to? Doing all that. Okay, you guys just heard about my cosplay name and what I'm going to do with that. I thought I had something else to throw in there, but maybe not. That could be enough for all of it. So I think what I will do as I'm playing through here is sneak in... Oh, I wish I had a... I'm going to look real quick. It would be great if I had a cover of a Guns N' Roses song from Leo or something, but I highly doubt it. That would be amazing. I don't think they do. So instead, let me just grab a different one from Leo because I'm in that rock kind of mood. Would be nice, and none of these are quite. So I'll just grab one. Grab one, throw it in there. I'm going to take a slightly early break. Would love for anyone who's listening to feel free to throw in an email to give me something else to talk about through the show here before I come back and try to transition to things a little more Geek Cred related. So right now you're listening to Show X on VTWProduction.com. I also may end the show slightly early because I have a cosplay event to get to right after this. I have to run, get dressed up, or maybe not. I don't know. Take photos, essentially, to back up a friend that's doing a cosplay meetup for that. So you're listening to Show X on VTWProductions.com. I'm going to listen to a song from Leo in his rock way that he does it. And I will be back just after this.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com. You're listening to Show X on vtwproductions.com.
And that is why I had to hang out, because I was afraid that the song would not actually queue up like I wanted it to. So let me try that again and look at the song info. Oh, that's why it's still trying to go to the network, which is down right now, and thus did not play. So let me go back into where I think I have legal music here, right? Let's see. That one I need to go to. I think I did it here. I need there. Nope. Did I put it on here? Problem is I have several backups for where I keep things alive. There we go. Music. There we go. Leo. And I was doing, which song was this? Wake. There we go. And so hopefully this will work now. And let's try that one more time. You heard the rest, so now ready for songs. And I'll do the one more, I think, copy hit right after that. And so there we go, and hopefully this will work this time.
dancing tomorrow night. It's cold out there, but it's warm in bed. They can't dance, we'll stay at home instead.
to Show X on btwproductions.com.
Awesome. All right, I am back after giving myself a chance to drink a few things, snack on something, and make message a little bit to people who are trying to figure out what's going on today. And so, all right, as I continue to do all of those things at the same time. Yeah. Let's see. So, geek cred time, everybody. So, I don't think there's anything else I need to talk about that wasn't geeky this week. Things, of course, in my life all seem to blend together. So, I'll go ahead and do the transition, since we're in the music part, and say...
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
All right. Let's see. Let's see. What do I want to start? So I will go with the one where what else I was doing this weekend that was geek. Leading up to. So some people have seen or heard, I've been going back through. One of the reasons I'm keeping that Zelda wristband at the moment is because I am going to be not cosplaying, that'll be later. I'm going to be gaming, retro gaming. If you look at my Twitch channel, which is DocDead at Twitch, I have been playing some Zelda in my stream. I've been playing Ocarina of Time. It's my first time going through the game fully. I've played it a little bit earlier, and I'm continuing that game that I started probably a year ago. Because I want to finally have beat this game and seen the things that are Zelda. I have so many friends that tell me so many great stories about all things Zelda, and I only experienced up through the second one on the Nintendo Entertainment System. And so I am way behind. I'm going to try to focus on essentially the console versions. I wasn't going to look at the handhelds much unless there's one that I absolutely cannot miss, in which case I'll try to find that. And I'm going to try to go through them in order of release so I can experience them with the proper graphics and the right, even though the timeline may not match up, the overall loose storyline that they have. In doing so, you can check that out. I need to work on my audio. Nice thing is I finally, through my 3D printing, I was able to fix one of the issues I was about to do it the other day, and then my headset, because Logitech headsets, the G900 series especially, 935 or the G35 and G930, both the wired and wireless versions have a nasty issue where this side clip they do that allows the head cups to rotate, a little bit too much torsion on the rotation can snap the plastic they use because it is way too light. Through the magic of 3D printing, I have replaced the broken parts on one side of my head cup that I had found just this last week when I was getting ready to stream. I was able to 3D print with a much sturdier material, a nylon blend that should not break, and the screws actually went into it with the default. I didn't have to do any aftermarket ones. So as long as it just holds it to my head, I will be happy. But it does actually feel pretty sturdy, so I'm pretty keen on that. Thank goodness for people who have gone out there and used 3D printers for practical things like fixing hardware when manufacturers do poor jobs of designing and stress testing. This is the third Logitech headset I've owned like that, and all of them have broken in some way across that little connection. So thank goodness for 3D prints. Now that I have that, my stream should improve because I was doing it off of my camera microphone and just playing the audio through my, not even speakers down here because I was going to use a headset, but through my HDMI monitors I have on the side, or DisplayPort ones that have little built-in terrible speakers, which is a bad thing, and so that stream probably sounds horrible, but you can at least see me playing through. I don't know how long these will take me. I will try to find time as I can. There are so many other things I should be gaming and getting prepped for, but we'll see. In the near future, I don't think I'll have as much time. I'll do it just to kind of a sanity thing to give myself some distraction, because the thing I'm going to be spending all of my time on until the beginning of this next month as I fly out to Atlanta is Dragon Con's cosplay, where I'm doing Thomas Jefferson. I've talked about in the past. I'll talk about it again. I have gotten past myself in the sense that I know that I need help, that I cannot do all things myself. I don't have the skills nor knowledge. And in doing so, I am enlisting the help of Zenko Akko Cosplay and Hide My Air Cosplay. They have both been either providing moral support and trying to keep me on task, or in the case of Zenko Akko, they've actually helped me a little bit with patterning and getting ready the next pieces of my mock-up. That's part of it. I'm not actually working on the core fabric yet. I will do, I think, all of that myself. But in the meantime, I've been using a mock-up for the first time in my sewing career to try to size everything and make sure I understand for the first time in my life patterning. And I will say through the direction and being able to ask questions of Zenko Akko, that I think I'm understanding. I'm having success. I did not bring it down here to show on stream because I just got in the house and dumped everything. But I have got my mock-up all but for like 3 pieces done for the external jacket for Thomas Jefferson, the big shiny jacket thing. I'm using cheap green fabric that I had originally had for green screen or something for that. And Zenko has been helping me, and I think has my patterns for it, in that she was helping me pattern the vest and potentially the pants that I'm using in some old sheets material to put together, just to get the right pattern for it, at which point, again, I will turn around and make everything in the nice, expensive fabric that I have sitting in the back corner here. It seems like I should have plenty of time. This is the first weekend of the month, and DragonCon's the end of this month, which it would be nice and easy, except that I'm going to be gone almost every weekend leading up to it. Starting this coming weekend, I will not be here to do a show on Sunday, and if Ken's not able to, it'll be a week sans. I think next week will be a skipped show, unless we do something pre-programmed, which will only work if I have the server running. So if I get that fixed, lots of ifs, ands, and buts before, but likelihood is no show next week. I will be in a mountain without any connectivity out in North Carolina doing martial arts stuffs. So that is happening. To get ready for that, I started my club here of martial arts, so working with Hyde, and hopefully we'll be able to sneak in another gal I know from work to start working on some martial arts stuff, since I'm going to use the 15 plus years of experience of martial arts I have and maybe try to train others. So far, the 2 meetings that we've had with Hyde have gone very well, and hopefully she's having fun, and I will extend that out to as many other people as I can get in there. So I'm getting back into the martial arts things while struggling to get through cosplay things, while still trying to edit photo things, while trying to find a few moments to actually game a little bit, while having hosted my family in town and such. But it's all working out. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Also, talking Geek cred. So thank you to Zenko Akko. Thank you to Hide My Air. Again, mock-up is done-ish. I just have to stitch a few more things. I have to get a bunch of interfacing, so I'm ready to go full bore on the main thing. And again, this discussion and what I was doing this weekend led towards my coming up with cosplay name of, Predictably Ham, because predictably every time I do a costume, I go ham on it towards the end, where it's time to get everything done, and instead of doing all the measuring and marking and stuff, it comes to, screw this, sewing machine, scissors, let's get this done, and just forcing it together. I've done more patterning than ever, and so it's actually fit, which is amazing. It actually tapers in and is somewhat slimming, which is amazing, but we'll see if that translates to the real material, because we'll see how that lays. And I haven't interfaced the mock-up, and I didn't iron any seams because it's a mock-up, so hopefully it'll all look better, but I have to get that done. No time. The following weekend, after doing martial arts stuff this coming week, which I also have to get back to people because, holy crud, if suddenly I became like one of the more popular people in Ninja Network, because I have 3 people who have contacted me about doing demos with them, meaning I have to learn a sequence of attacks to do against each of them to help them look really good as they try to get ready to promote and move on to their next belt level. All of which are at the black belt level, either people testing for their black belts or for a higher degree of their black belts. I've already got 2 demos I've agreed to be a part of, and I just got contacted by someone else for a 3rd who I'm unfortunately going to probably have to decline because I don't have enough time to learn all of the attacks I have to do with them while also prepping myself just to be there and participate. If you haven't caught a theme already, it's that I am really busy these days. Holy cow. Anyhow, so I have to contact, and it's in my list right now because I got a message from them a little earlier today saying stuff, and I'm like, oh, geez. Yeah. Oh, wait, let's see. Okay, I'll have to read this one because there's other things going on. As well as I have another friend who's in from out of town this weekend that we said we'd try to meet up, and so I'm trying to decide if I try to do that late night with other things tonight or sometime in the next couple days. Oh my goodness, am I a busy beaver this weekend. All right, so get that all done. I will wait to message these until I decide to finish the show. Like I said, I will likely be finishing early because I have to put on real clothes and real pants to leave this house and go take photos and make sure I think my camera's batteries are loaded full, decide if I take a flash, and who knows, maybe it'll all get rained out and I'll have more time back to do other things. Because then afterwards tonight I'm hoping to keep costuming, work on the mock-up, maybe have people over to help me as well as hang out as we have, and do things like that. All right, what else did I do? I'm remembering as I go. So yes, cosplay. And it's funny because it's just translating from what I had been doing for for like helping others with theirs to what I am now having others help me. Thank goodness for friends. So good progress with the Thomas Jefferson, mock-ups for the other pieces. No one else is currently working on a cosplay, which helps me out a lot. So that's nice. Also, I don't know if I say a shout out or odd, but anyone who is actually watching in the video and hasn't commented yet, because I think headphones help hide the fact. At some point, it was decided, thanks to Hyde, that somehow I needed to have my hair adjusted. And she went and brought forth tools to, while we were geeking out, and I took a break from mocking up just enough to watch some episodes of Steins Gate. She decided to straighten my hair with a flat iron and stuff. And so, although I think my hair is in rebellion and is slowly working its way back, there was a moment at 4 o'clock this morning when we were all a little punch drunk with lack of sleep that I looked quite fabulous and would only best equate myself to either a 80s hairband member or the cover model for a romance novel from the 80s. It was something to behold. I don't know if it's good or bad that I don't think we captured many photos of the experience. At the same time, I give Hyde a little bit of shout out for persistence, because where she went into the thought that this would be a fun, quick, easy thing to do and had mischievous grins as she started doing things, it took like an hour or more for her to get through my hair. And I think fatigued the junk out of her, and she was not prepared. But at least today was not when I said, hey, next time I have to have straight hair, ta-ta, I know I'm going to. And she did not. Oh, and there goes the show deciding to be a dork. She did not say no and did not fail in the matter of, like, I could not, would not, if given another opportunity. She did look back on it as like, okay, well, I didn't fail to do it, and it did suck, but maybe could, right? And so I'm keeping her on the list and warned her if I ever need to actually have straight hair for a costume or something, she's the one I'm going to. So she did it to herself. So, and yes, it looks ridiculous. We laughed for quite some time, all of us in the bathroom looking in the mirror, just seeing how ridiculous my hair is when straightened. I think it all came up to they were pulling out my curls to see how long my hair really was, and thus decided they needed to see it down. So yeah, that's something. Like I said, it's rebelling because it's all coming back, and I think the more humidity I experience, it'll be back to its traditional form in the next day or two. I don't know if I will allow it to go like this as I go into work tomorrow. That might be a bit much. The people I'm going to go take photos of for this cosplay round might see it, but that would be the limit. Beyond that, let's see. Going over to Zenko Akko's, not only did we do that, Akko has been amazing in that he, as I've said before, keeps working on things for the guild hall. Well, we finally got to play with his newest addition to his collection of parts and pieces that he cannot fit in their current residence and needs like a shop. He got very inexpensively a laser cutter / engraver. The nice things, this is a used, no branded Chinese model, kind of the cheapest ones you can get, has only a 40-watt laser, which is still plenty good. It just means there's limits to how deep or how much it can go through. And it doesn't have a whole lot in the range of configurability. It's pretty much, you go. If you want it to cut, you say cut. If you want it to engrave, say engrave. Beyond that, if you want to see how deep or dark things get in different materials, it's how fast you have it go versus setting it to like a lower wattage. It just kind of sits there. And so you have to adjust it pretty much manually on the fly, or say, this is how I'm going to get the results I'm after. But with the laser cutter, I got to help him out where we got it running for the first time. Actually, Hyde and him got it running. I helped him with the configurations, much like with my knowledge of 3D printing. I know a lot of little things about laser cutting, laser engraving. And so we're able to get him on the right track, and to the point where he was at least engraving, some level of cutting, before the end of the night. Great, except that initial stuff he was working on was plastic, which if anyone, it's like printing with ABS. If you do, don't, because it smells like death, and you will if you stay in the same room because it releases noxious gas. His does have an aftermarket vent that someone built for it, but not quite enough to really deal with plastics. Thankfully, I was able to go in there and, through the supplies I'd purchased, cut out some little pieces of wood that he had ready to go for it, and he was able to start playing with that, which is a much nicer smell, that of burning wood. So much recommended if you're going to start with something that's nice, like wood. But he was able to do some testing and some adjusting, so we have some ideas for that to eventually start making really cool things with lasers, including and now that he has it, and once we can get the material settings right, I am totally going to start tattooing all of my equipment. Like, actually lasering the back of my laptop maybe with designs and stuff like that. There are so many cool things you do, but you just have to be really careful about setting the laser up right. Once you get it, you can do anything. Etching is so cool. So, started playing with that. That's a lot of fun. Another step towards Guildhall, so can't wait to do more with it. Those are all the things I think we did crafting-wise. I know we have things coming up in the future, other goals and things to work on later, but for now I think that was it. The other thing we did, and what actually was kind of the beginning of some of this, was Friday night. It was Friday night. I hosted a later night because of other obligations, a later night viewing of the newly released season of Voltron. Voltron, the legendary Defender of the Universe. Season 3 hit Netflix on Friday. For those who aren't aware, the first 2 seasons have been out, and I think each one of those was a solid 12 to 13 episodes, maybe more, for the overall series. But this new one was a shortened one. It's only 7 episodes. For anyone who's following along hasn't seen it yet, it's only 7 episodes. Now, I will tell you, I saw one of my friends who's a bit younger, and I don't believe has ever seen anything of the original Voltron, complain a little bit about how short the season was, and said that she was a little confused about where things had gone. And this has been great for me, having watched the original Voltron, know a lot of the original storyline stuff, although I've had to refresh it, have been able to respond a lot to what was going on. Now, they've done some things different than the original, but they have at least played to or used some of the same story points and plot points initially, with character development and who's doing what, that I know some of my friends are haters for certain characters in it, and were disappointed that certain characters they hate got a little more billing than they wanted, where I saw and said they are doing exactly what was in the original cartoon. This is amazing. While at the same time doing this great expansion on the universe where they go way beyond what the original kind of cheap Monster of the Week kind of serial thing was. Voltron, that's on Netflix now, the new series, is so legit good. If I remember correct, and I've said it before, it's made by the same people who did Avatar: The Last Airbender, this series on Nickelodeon. And you could feel it. The animation style is similar. The humor is very solid in there. There are episodes where I just laugh my butt off watching it. And it's still very smart. And they do things where they harken back or tie to things from the very first episode all the way through. It's very well and very smartly put together. I enjoyed it. We binged it to the point where it was late because we also had to catch one of our members of our group up, who we had introduced at one of our cons but only gotten through part of the first season. Come to find out, had not watched the rest of the season nor any of season 2, as we're about to do a watching of season 3 party. So we spent the first couple hours reviewing and selectively skipping through episodes, giving a synopsis, summary, and then going on to more. So that member needs to go back and watch again to fill in all the blanks because it's so epic. And then we watched all the third, and I understood it, and I knew it was coming, and I'm so happy that they did certain things for certain characters, as well as providing a legit backstory to some of the events that got them to where they are. They fill in so many blanks. I'm happy about that. So yeah, I highly recommend that everybody get out there and watch all 3 seasons of Voltron on Netflix. If you have Netflix, you should have watched this series. It is amazing. So good. And I don't want to spoil any of what happened in it. It's something you need to experience for yourself. That's how much I enjoyed it. I think, for what I was kind of discussing or bringing up or just had in general in my head about geekdom, that's kind of it. Like I said, 3D printing, playing Zelda and such. I haven't really gotten into a lot of other games, a little bit of maybe an ARAM here or two in League of Legends. Haven't even been on Overwatch for some time here, which feels bad. And some branding and stuff that I want to get accomplished. So those are the main things I have been up to. Double checking the email box, and I have not seen any Geek cred or anything in from everyone else. Oh, geez, I have not. I need to pay some bills. All of the things. I'm an adult. Yes, totally an adult. This is a thing. Awesome. Anyhow, that's probably a good note to also say that I need to probably end things here early so that I can finish doing responsible things as I get prepared to take off for another weekend and still have to get ready for things like Game Fest coming up that I totally do not have in the bag yet. I totally have a lot of things to still do with that. So yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff going on. But it's exciting, and I guess you can't really argue that at least all of the things I have happening tend to be fun. And so there are worse ways to be than to mostly be enjoying like what I do every other day. So could be worse. So far, I'm having a ball. So let me continue to be responsible and say thank you guys for tuning in. And especially I'm sorry, Tabby, that you got in late as I'm going to call the show early. So that I can finish doing some other things. Feel free to go back and watch the rest of the show to catch all I've been doing. Partly, unfortunately, I haven't been able to do enough research to see other good news stories this week when it comes to geekdom. I missed out on stuff. Too busy doing other things. So there's that. But with that, and again, sorry, short. A lot of things to do, but and again, probably no show next week because neither of us will probably be around. And Ken can't host on his equipment yet, so it's all my fault. So with that, I'm going to call it early and start taking care of things and being an adult. So thank you very much for tuning in. You've been listening to Show X on VTWProductions.com. We will see if my play-out music will actually continue or if it's going to keep choking at me because I need to just reinstall Sam. And again, haven't even had time for that. But I will catch you guys again in a future episode of Show X. And by the time I come back, I guess the next show would be a Game Fest show. And it's going to be live with a ton of people in the room. So look forward to that. And hopefully more stories of progress and things. And seeing my basement completely reconfigured from craft mode to gaming mode and hosting others. Oh man, it's going to be busy, but should be a ball. All right, thanks everybody. You have a good week and game on. I will not be in the TeamSpeak after the show. I haven't been in there much because I haven't been gaming. But please continue to reach out to others and play all the games. All right. Love you guys. See ya later. And music. Haha. All right. Cool. Just in time to say bye.
Goodbye. See you in the next zombie. Good night.